welcome to a very special Switch 2 special, a Swapping Joysticks. I'm your host, Ben Ostwick, and joining me, as always, indoors, over there. He usually sits at his desk right next to it for the entire day from start to finish, but he has had a day off today. It's Ed Nightingale.
Thanks, Ben. This is a special.
It is a special, the highest level of special.
Wow.
And we're going to be talking about the Switch 2. We've both got one each.
I see you're wearing your Nintendo t-shirt. Have you been to Japan?
I have been to Japan. I thought you were going to say, has it shrunk? Because I think it's either shrunk or I've not shrunk. And I think it's probably the latter.
I think it's probably shrunk a bit.
Yeah, it is quite a tight t-shirt.
We've got our Nintendo mugs.
We're going to be accused of being Nintendo shills here now.
Well, yeah.
Also, I just realised that, the lights have collapsed as well behind, so it's not fully lit up. In fact, give me 1 second. And if you're watching on video, you'll see magic. It's now well lit, although you can see the light, but I need to faff with that later. Anyway, so we both have the Switch 2. We've both got a bunch of games on it, and we've tried it. We'll give our first impressions, and I know that in the Discord we've asked what people's impressions are, so we'll get theirs as well. Overall, Ed, first,
Firstly, I went into the living room just now, and you were playing on the Switch 2, and you were playing Mario Kart.
I was.
On the SNES.
Yeah, I played Super Mario Kart. Do you know why?
Sure.
Well, we'll talk about Mario Kart World, I'm sure, but I played, we will, Mario Kart World's Knockout Tour, and I was so stressed out by the last few seconds of it, in a good way, but also I didn't win, but so bad way.
Oh.
But I came fourth, and I was in such a stressful state. I'm like, and it reminded me that I'd read somewhere that Super Mario Kart was on the SNES Classics, and I didn't realize, and that was one of the first games I ever played. So I just got the urge to go and play what I loved to play as a kid. I did way better than I did as a kid, gotta say.
You go. You got skills now.
I actually won the Mushroom Cup or whatever it was. So
the easy one.
Yeah, on 50cc, which is weird because 50cc. I think there is probably a way to complete it without, holding down the accelerate button the entire time. But I won, but going to cons, I had to let go of accelerate and properly turn. And
you had to let go of accelerate?
In 50cc, it felt weird. It felt very weird. Times have changed.
You need to start hopping around corners. That's the way.
Okay, I don't know. I'm not a speedrunner. Also, I did notice as well that Link to the Past is on there, and I think that was the other first game I ever played. So, because my sister, she had good taste at the time.
I'm pretty sure you can play every single Zelda game on the Switch.
Except Twilight Princess.
Except Twilight Princess, yeah.
See, even I know Zelda facts.
There you go.
We will be...
I was thinking, I'm sure there's one, and I'd forgotten that one.
Yeah, now Wind Waker you can.
Yeah?
Yeah, but we will be talking about other games because I did finish Wind Waker HD, and there are some other games as well that I'm playing, including Tears of the Kingdom, which I guess we will talk a bit about today. But today's podcast will be mainly about the Switch 2. What were your first?
It's our big new toy.
It was a big new toy, and honestly, I'm really gutted because I pre-ordered it for delivery instead of actually going to the shop. And where we live now, deliveries come around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 to 4. So that was really excruciating. Seeing people queuing up at midnight, and even in the US, they had 9 p.m. collections from East Coast, West Coast, wherever. It wasn't. So there were loads of people getting their Switches 15 hours before
you.
15 hours before me.
Oh,
I was
no,
gutted.
Ben, what a shame.
I was so upset that I booked half a day off work instead of a full day because I just knew that was going to happen. So,
wow.
But eventually it did come. And
every time the door went and in the work Slack, I was like, the door's going. And I was like, oh no, it's a phone bill.
It generally was. Yeah, the door rang. So I ran to the door, opened it, let the guy in, and he came up, opened the door for him, and then he just gave me a bill.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
That's not what I want.
No. Also, I mean, he probably why did the guy open it? I just could have posted it through his letterbox. But the person that
because you, sir, were not carrying a Switch 2.
Yeah.
How dare.
Although, what happened when they delivered it? Well, one thing that they did when they delivered it, they went up in the lift, despite us living a few steps up from the bottom. I mean, it wasn't that heavy or that many.
They've probably delivered a lot of Switch 2s in one day.
That's true.
Or whatever else.
But what did you... So you took a picture of me holding up all our things, because our friends ordered a Switch 2 and they got it delivered to us as well. So in fact, it's coming tomorrow and he can have it because it's right there. But Yeah, what did you took a picture of me holding the boxes, and what
Well,
did
I
your
did.
colleague said?
Well, I put it in the work Slack, and they said, "Oh, is that the delivery man?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I just let the delivery man into my house
In pajamas.
in pajamas to take a picture of him. Sure.
Do I have a delivery man persona? I don't know what a delivery man persona is, but
I
the
don't know, are
aura.
they tall?
Yeah, I just have a massive tool.
They've got to reach up to the post box.
That's true. I don't think you need a lot of height to be a postman, but sure. So
Anyway, it arrived.
it did, and you've got it. Here it is. What have you? Well, what were your first impressions when you got it?
So, I guess like as a piece of hardware, I really really like it. It feels so solid. Like the magnets are really strong.
Well, Ed.
Well, I did rip it off.
Yeah,
Because I forgot that there's a button on the back that you press to go, ooh, and then it just snaps back on.
yeah. So Ed, while I was live streaming, because I did a little launch stream when it was on, and then you were at the side ripping away at the controller and literally yanked the controller off the screen. So
it's possible.
it is possible to do it without breaking it, but we really don't advise you
No,
to
don't
do
do
that.
that.
Use the little button at the back.
It is bigger than the. Do it? No, it's
Definitely
not in
bigger.
here. It is but the Joy Cons are bigger as well and feel a bit easier to hold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels solid.
Yeah.
It feels. I don't think the original Switch, ever felt plasticky or light or like a toy, but in comparison to this, it does.
It is, yeah, and it does. It feels more like a Steam Deck than a Switch One. Like the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
though, being really bulky and thick, like you do not want to put that in your pocket. In fact, nobody has a pocket big enough for
No.
the Steam Deck. This maybe if you've got a big flat pocket and want it sticking out the end, but it is like it's big in size, but not in width. Like the width is still, I think it's exactly the same, isn't it?
Big in size, but not in width.
Big in, yeah.
Are you calling it a chode?
No, that's the
that
other way
would be
around, isn't it?
wouldn't
Yeah, it's the anti-chode. It's a long, thin spaghetti penis.
Well, it depends. Are you holding it that way or that way?
Depends which way you want to put it in. It's going to be painful. But
Yeah.
I'd just say it's exactly the same width. It's exactly the same thickness, I believe, as the Switch One. So that was
Yeah.
great. And as
It's
somebody,
slightly heavier, but I don't mind that.
oh yeah, no,
But I also haven't really used it in handheld mode very much.
no.
So that hasn't bothered me because maybe people don't want to hold it for a long period of time.
I am looking forward to I'm just looking to see because we have ordered some cases, and it currently says, oh
Is it arriving imminently?
no, well, status is completed.
Oh,
So I guess that means it's going to be delivered
soon.
within 2 to 4 days. So yeah, that's good.
Nice.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah, I need to keep this protected. I need to be careful with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you think of the screen? Because it's not OLED.
Can I just say, a lot of the facts that I will be coming out with are learned through the Nintendo Switch welcome tour that I bought for my sins.
Oh God, do you want to talk about that first?
Well, no, because I think we should talk about it, and then I can. Well, I shouldn't have said this because now I can act really intelligent. But the welcome tour, or as I like to call it, the well actually tour,
Oh God.
because after playing it to completion, not 100%, but like I did all the quizzes in there to 100%. And unlocked all the nodes of facts, whatever. I now have loads of really unusual and weird facts, and it did feel like they're kind of saying like, this Switch 2 is a Switch 2. It is not the Switch, but slightly better. There are these thousands of different features that make it so much more. Like they were even talking about. So here's the Joy-Con grip. Is it still called that?
Yes.
And at the bottom, they're like, we've got 2 little things to help it fall, to help it 2 little like nodules. What are they called? Nipples.
There are 2 little things to help it do something.
2 little nipples at the very bottom of it, so that you can actually stand up your Joy-Con grip. You can't really see it, but you can stand it up vertically, and it's because of those 2 little nipples at the bottom. There we are. Do you want to know another little? Oh, do you want to know my favorite fact about it?
Go on.
There are 4 pads on the bottom of the dock, and one of them is, and if I remember rightly, one of them is not fully rubber. It's more plasticky, because it's that one apparently is so that if you pull it or you pull something out, it doesn't fall over flat. So if your Switch apparently it's very easy to kind of for the dock to fall over if you pull it. but one of the feet is made of plastic, so that when it gets pulled, instead of flipping over, it slides.
Oh,
And like just that kind of fact, I loved it. I found it very interesting. But anyway,
wow! You paid £8 for that privilege.
no, I paid like 4 because I had some coins.
Okay.
And you know what? I played it for a good 6 hours and
You
was.
played that for a very long time.
I didn't play Mario
I'm
Kart till
surprised
about
you bought a
10
brand
p.m.
new console with a brand new Mario Kart game, and you spent the first few hours in a virtual museum learning stupid little facts.
Yeah. Even
Are
things
you
like
happy with your time?
oh, very very happy. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, even like the things that you attach onto the, the handle, what they call the straps.
Yeah.
What are they called again? Those things that you snap on?
I don't know, the wrist strap?
Joy-Con straps. Yeah, they were saying like how we can't have him moving around because then it might cause issues. So we've had like this bit of plastic on there is kind of attached to it so that the thread where it connects doesn't move around, and it's very interesting.
Okay.
So
What did you learn about the screen?
So the screen, yes, you're right, it is LCD. I actually learned one thing about it later, which is that one of the reasons why it's not OLED is that LED these days is way better than what it was, but also because it's 120 FPS or 120 hertz, as well as being OLED and also having VRR, which is variable refresh rate, so it can change depending on what how sluggish the console is being. Apparently with OLED that causes quite a bit of flicker. And maybe the ones that don't cost way too much money. So, because I've seen people being like, "Oh, well, they should have launched a £600 version with an OLED screen."
It's
I was like, "That is
enough.
never in a million years would they have agreed to that. That would have been the most. I mean,
Do you not know Nintendo products?
Yeah, it's like they'll make one later on, maybe when those screens are a bit cheaper. But also, no, but that would be the
There'll
headline.
be a Switch to OLED Pro in about 3 years.
There are a few nerds,
and us idiots will probably buy it.
There are a few nerds complaining about the OLED screen. That is nothing compared to what it would be if they were like, hey, we've got 2 Switch 2s out. One of them's 400, one of them's 600. 600's got a better screen. And then people are like, oh, I'll just save up for the 600 one. It would have been a stupid decision. And anybody that says that the OLED should have been there from the start needs to give their head a wobble because...
Well, that would have included you because you were very like, I can't believe it doesn't have OLED, and now you're all in on LCD.
I wasn't, or not from at the very very start. I was like, well, that's quite surprising and shocking, but I didn't realize all that. Plus, you then went, and a lot of people had said that actually the screen is stunning, and if you whack that brightness up really high, it still looks very very good, and also it's got HDR as well, which the OLED model, I don't think the OLED Switch 1 doesn't have HDR. So like having all of these things to tick off would have made a screen way too expensive, an OLED.
Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour has changed you.
Yeah, what else do I know about the screen?
You've been brainwashed now.
I have. There are the magnets. Do you know about them?
What in the Joy-Con?
Ah,
I know they're not in the Joy-Con. They're in the console.
wrong. Yes, they're in the console. There are no magnets in the Joy-Con.
Great.
There you go. I'll keep on giving you facts every now and again. Don't worry.
Just pop them in.
Yeah. Do you know the reason why they made the stand, the kickstand, if you'd like to show it, so thin?
By all means, Ben. Let me get it out for you.
Please do.
I'll just pop it out.
Apparently, it's made of a mix of like metal and plastic, so it's very, very hard to break. And also, it's very thin, so that there's more space to put a battery in the back.
What, in across here?
Yeah. So there you go.
Also, it covers the SD slot, which is a bit awkward to get to.
One thing as well, which I was quite surprised at, was how you get the game cartridges in and out. I really like it now.
Yeah, it's like
way better than it was.
Pop it up, and then it's like a weird thing.
Yeah, you get your finger in and you lift it up. Do you want to show you?
Well, no, because hang on, I think I might still have something turned on.
But you get your finger in.
It does take a little while to load.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Oh no, it's Mario Kart, but it's not on, so that's fine.
So yeah, you hook it up.
Pop it up.
And then...
See that.
You can't really see it. Well, do you want me to put it all close to the screen?
There you go.
Not that anybody really cares, and anybody that does cares probably already
They've
got one.
got one.
So yeah, you kind of get your finger in, lift it up, move it to one side, and then you can push in and get your cart out. So like let's go and pop that back in. There you go. You can put it back in now. So
Yeah, you can sort of bend it out.
Yeah, which before you had to really get your finger in, and I'll let you
go.
do it.
I'm not having
You have to really,
break this. Thank you
really
very
get your
much.
finger in and like pull it over. And
sort of flicks
I
on.
found it kind of a bit flimsy, especially with the stand. It was quite. You had to put a bit of power, a bit of force, and like the stand would fall over and all sorts. So, yeah, that was cool. What else do you like about it or not?
I mean, I haven't really used mouse mode, so I can't. Well, I did at the Switch 2 event when I played Metroid, and I wasn't and Mario Party and the wheelchair game, and I wasn't a huge fan of the mouse, to be honest. But I haven't had a reason now. Now I own one. I don't have a reason to play with the mouse. I mean, you can use that in the main menu to move around and click, but
Yeah.
why would you do that?
So I've used the mouse mode quite a bit in the welcome tour, and I used it on a desk, so I think that's a different experience to using it on your leg. However, I've got to say, I was really, really surprised with just how good that mouse response was.
It's very the responsiveness is great. I
Yeah.
just don't personally want to play a game with it.
Do you want to know a little fact about the mouse?
Go on then. Do I have a choice?
No.
Okay.
How do you think the mouse works out what you're doing?
It's a camera.
It is. Well done. You've learned well. It is a camera. A very,
I
very,
did see
very
that one little bit of your stream.
low resolution camera, but it is literally a camera. So when people say, I wish the Switch 2 had a camera in it, to be like, it's got two.
Is it there?
What's in the controller? Yeah. And it's a very low resolution, so it can see, and it takes...
Yeah, you can hold it like this as a mouse and click the shoulder buttons.
Hmm.
It's a sort of left and right click.
Which I never know which one to press when I'm playing whatever, but yeah.
And then just...
It does feel really cool snapping it back in.
Yep.
Anything else you like? Or what about the C button?
I literally haven't even used it. Because I haven't had a reason to. Well, we've got the camera, but we haven't set it up yet, have we? Or have you?
Not in there, but I've used the camera. Didn't you watch my stream?
No.
I got Moni in.
Did you?
Yeah, Moni joined for a bit.
Hi, Moni.
Yeah. Hi, Moni. Yeah, you're a bit late. But she joined via the C button, and it worked really well. It was obviously like quite a low resolution camera. She's got the cheap ass piranha plant one, yeah. Then I think the camera and the Joy-Con's better resolution than that one. No, it's not, but no, I can see her fine. And yeah, it's like it's got one of those automatic green screens, so because it puts you over the, so it's editing that at the time, and it kind of it overlays you over your screen, and you can adjust it slightly and change how big the screen is and whatnot, and whether you and your friend are going to have the same screen or you have different ones. But yeah, no, it worked really well, really easy to get up and get set up, and yeah, I didn't have any problem whatsoever. Although it was like, one thing I did have a problem with, it said you can like unapprove people that can request to view you, because obviously like you can get requests to be in a party and then you get your camera on, and unfortunately it auto selects everybody that's in yours, so everybody is already selected. It's not like choose the people you want to be able to kind of send you a room request or whatever.
Okay.
And I've got 300 friends.
Oh.
So popular. No, but then to remove them all, you have to go into like a menu for each one, and I just gave up. I'm like, I just hope a random person that came over to my Animal Crossing island back in 2020 and added me as a friend doesn't go like, I'm just going to keep sending him a load of invites.
I mean, you're popular, Ben, but
no, I'm not. Not anymore.
Let's not go.
My turnips no longer bring all the boys to the yard.
Oh, that's a shame.
So,
I mean, for me, the real test of it is going to be next time you're streaming Mario Kart, and then I will join from the other room, but with the camera and with the mic on the Switch. But then,
the mic was clear as well.
Will I still hear? I'll hear you in the game.
Yeah, and the mic was actually really good because I had
because then I can't have the stream on in the background.
No, you won't need to.
Yeah.
Well, you'll mute.
It's just knowing. Yeah, it's just, of course, I need the coins. But it will be interesting then to see how that works and how clear the voice is.
Yeah, and it was very clear. And I love how it cuts out the background, because I literally had it on top of my computer that was whirring away with it in the dock on there. And it was like under the desk, and it was picking me up when I was talking to Moni.
Oh,
nice and clearly.
That's good.
So yeah, it does a really good job of getting rid of background noise, but also getting rid of... It's weird because... Another thing from the welcome tour, they wanted to make it so it gets rid of like background noise and unusual sounds or whatever, but it also, like, if you're clapping, it does want to show that, because obviously clapping is you showing your excitement and stuff. So there's some wild technology going on back there, and yeah, it worked really well.
So the first thing you played was the Welcome Tour.
Oh yes.
The first thing I played was Mario Kart, but I very quickly,
Decided to play the Welcome Tour.
very quickly moved on to other things. That being F-Zero GX on the GameCube.
Oh, I thought you were about to say another game that you're playing
What other game?
on the PlayStation.
Oh, no. We'll talk about that another time. No, I very quickly moved on to F-Zero GX, and then I ended up playing Tears of the Kingdom and started a new save file.
Of course.
Because the update now gives you a second save file, which is great.
Yeah, only a few years too late, but sure.
Yeah, finally. So I started a new save file in Tears of the Kingdom to see what that was like, and was just completely blown away by how smooth, how sharp it looks. The frame rate is so much better, and it's such a beautiful game. And I still think Tears of the Kingdom is better than Breath of the Wild. Although I did then play a bit of Breath of the Wild. So ultimately, I've ended up spending a lot of time playing old games that I have on older consoles more than the actual new game, which is interesting, and I think shows that as a launch lineup, I think it's lacking.
Yeah, I feel like most of them are. It could have done with like one other game, like one of the story-based game maybe that people are really desperate to get into.
I mean,
Like a Mario Kart and a Zelda would have been amazing, obviously.
100% Donkey Kong is finished. So why have they waited a month?
Do they have nothing else in August?
Well, yeah, are they just trying to space things out a little bit? Why? Metroid is probably done.
I find it wild as well that so many other like games didn't launch at the launch, because there's maybe about 10, 20 games of like third-party games came out, and I feel like people are just desperate to play stuff on the Switch too, and they're going to buy it. Like everywhere I look, it's Cyberpunk. Like Cyberpunk seems to, I'm sure it sold many.
The thing with Cyberpunk is that it had such a disastrous launch and was so very much a new gen game that was terrible on the Xbox One and PS4. Really needed a high-end PC to make it work, and it only really got going once those patches were done on the newer consoles. So it has that reputation of being a very technically demanding game. And so to be able to play that on a Switch 2 handheld, like that is impressive. That's that, and I think people want to see that. But you're right, there are loads of third-party games, but they're all games that like most people will have already played on another console. So on the one hand, I think it's great that they exist on the Switch 2, that people who want to play it can. I think it proves the difference that Nintendo now have, where traditionally Nintendo consoles have always had Nintendo games and third-party games have always been on the other consoles. You know, your FIFA or your Call of Duty or whatever, like they're always going for the brand new console and they skip Nintendo. And I mean those games aren't yet on Switch 2, but probably will be. And it just shows now how much power Nintendo has with their console to bring in third parties, and that is going to really help to give it a massive library of games, just as the Switch 1 did. So that's great. But as someone who already owns a lot of consoles and plays games for my job, I want something new, and the only really new thing that's worthwhile is Mario Kart. Sorry, Nintendo World Museum, whatever it's called.
Welcome Tour,
that's the one. Like Mario Kart is the only really big game, and so I can understand why people might go, do you know what, I'm not going to buy one just yet.
Oh yeah,
because I want more than just that. For me, like I've got it for work, but also it's an investment into, you know, this is going to be the console for a while. And even, you know, yes, I've played old Switch games, but even playing them on a Switch 2 feels better.
and
So
there's
it's worth it to me.
There's a reason that they launched it now. Like by Christmas time, there will be enough games that people will go, I want the Switch 2. Then, you know, this is out, Donkey Kong's out, Metroid's out, whatever Mario game maybe that they release in December is out. Like there will be enough games that people go, hey, look, we can I can get the Switch 2 with these 2-game bundle, and you can mix and match or something like that. So I think it's got a really good future ahead of it. It makes me think that like the Switch 2 is kind of Nintendo back to being one of the main players, just because I remember when obviously the Wii U launched and it had like no third-party support whatsoever. People hated it. It was dire. What was it like for the Wii? Because I remember I didn't really follow it as much, but I remember it being a bit gimmicky because of the waving stick and the nunchuck thing.
So as you've had your Welcome Tour history, I'll give you some history and we'll go back a bit further. So the N64 happened, and it was cartridges, not discs, and that pissed off loads of developers because the likes of Square Enix said, "Hey, we want to make games that are really cinematic and graphically impressive, and they could fit all the FMVs on a disc that they couldn't on a cartridge." And so Nintendo lost a lot of third-party support with the N64. That then continued with the GameCube because they moved to discs, but the GameCube has tiny discs that are specific to the GameCube. And so, again, it's not standard. So that's why everybody still moved to PS2, and that had way more third-party support than the GameCube did. Then with the Wii, it was back to normal size discs, but it was the weird thing of, oh, what the fuck are these motion controls? And so I think at the beginning for the launch of the Wii, it was like basically Wii Sports and Zelda, and that was it. And a lot of developers were thinking, well, how do we develop for this?
I didn't realize by the way, Wii Sports was not a packing game in Japan. I was quite surprised reading that. There you go.
There you go.
Fact. That wasn't. They didn't say that in the welcome to.
Oh. The thing with the Wii, though, is that was Nintendo very much gearing towards a wider audience. And because the motion controls really kicked off because of Wii Sports, loads of third-party developers said, hey, I want a bit of that. And that's why now when you go to like CEX or something, it's just full of third-party shit on the Wii because it was just full of minigame collections and waggle controls and a load of bullshit. So
the annoying Tony Hawk game that you have to use the balance board. Even a balance board, you have to use that special skateboard to play.
So I think they brought back a lot of third-party support with the Wii, but it wasn't necessarily good. And then because they've always been a step behind, like I say, the likes of Call of Duty and FIFA's, those are the big games. Even, dare I say it, Hogwarts Legacy, which is the biggest selling game, the biggest selling game from the last couple, one of the biggest selling games of the last couple of years, but it runs fucking awfully on a Switch. Also here, I've not played it, but I haven't played the Switch version, is what I mean. So it's like, what am I trying to say?
You just called yourself a transphobe, I think.
No, I didn't. I haven't played it.
No, the Switch version
it lagged behind the others.
And that's where
you're
you're finishing my point, I think. So the Switch
sorry,
is
I was leading up to it. Yes,
you've gone past it now.
Okay,
no, I was saying that then the Wii U kind of like the third parties and everybody just abandoned that. However, then the Switch came out and it started off, at least at the start, as kind of the indie place, the place where all the indies wanted to be on because they were able to run really well. You could download it. It was, fairly easy to find these games. And maybe because they didn't have all these massive third-party games, they stood out a bit more before all the shiteware came on. But then now, with the launch of the Switch 2, it feels like everyone's back. Everyone's back with Nintendo. And is this going to be maybe the first... Will this be the first time that, for a long time, that like all the publishers want to be on the Switch 2? Want to be on Nintendo's console?
The Switch 2 is still not as powerful as a PS5.
No.
So I think PS5 games will probably still be able to be ported to a Switch 2, but they won't look as good as a PS5 version would do. I think developers want to be on a Nintendo console because the Switch sold so well because of all those indie games that you just mentioned.
And it sold it's already sold really well, this one. 3.5 million in a week, was it?
4 days.
4 days, bloody hell.
That is just under 25% of their yearly forecast in 4 days.
Isn't that also what the PS5 sold in a month?
The PS5 has sold better.
Now it has.
Or at least in the UK.
It didn't at the start, though, I don't think.
I can't remember globally. I did write a story on it and I can't remember. I think
You're not working,
in
ignore.
the first quarter, the PS5 I'm trying to remember my numbers. I think the first quarter the PS5 was 4.5, and so the Switch 2 is 3.5 million, but in 4 days. But that's obviously going to be the big launch spike.
Yeah, but
anyway,
also there are lots of Switch 2s available, which is fantastic. Where the PS5 came out, not so many.
The reason I'm getting confused is because in the UK, the Switch 2 is Nintendo's best-selling bit of hardware ever, but the UK launch specifically was less than what the PS5 launch was in the UK. Because apparently Nintendo struggles a bit more in the UK. But yeah, I think everybody wanted to be on the Switch because it had a huge install base, and they're anticipating the same thing for Switch 2. I still don't think we're going to get complete parity of like Call of Duty.
I was about to say,
And I keep saying
wasn't-
Call of Duty, but it's like it's the biggest game in the world.
Well, you say
so
Call of
that's
Duty.
the obvious one that's going to be on everything.
Did I not read that they said that they would like to get Call of Duty
So
on Switch too?
Microsoft have said like a year ago, we want to get our games on Nintendo, and said that they would endeavor to. And then Eurogamer got a quote confirming that they are planning to put it on.
Oh,
there.
because I got this from IGN
Oh, don't believe that.
that says in the wake of the Black Ops 7 announcement, the one designed to feel like a surprise Beyonce album drop.
Yeah.
What does Wes know about Beyonce? Both Activision and Nintendo are said to be working on getting the long-running first-person shooter franchise on Switch. But does that mean Black Ops 7 will be on Switch too? Scroll past all the ads to find out. I mean, I don't know if we'll get Black Ops 7, but also it'd be cool if you could play the old kind of campaigns on Switch too. Because I love the I'm one of those weirdos that enjoys the campaigns in Call of Duty and multiplayer stuff. I can take or leave, but like the actual campaigns are quite fun. They're just like kind of a Disney experience of kind of like, here's the start, it's all cool explosions, it'll please you, and then at the end you go, oh, that was a fun 6 hours, 5 hours, or whatever.
The other thing is that PS5 is almost in its 5th year, so we're gonna get a PS6 in 2027, maybe, probably, potentially.
I feel like we still got another, especially with the Pro.
I mean, I think it's gonna go a bit longer. I think console life cycles are longer than they used to be, but we're at a point now where Switch 2 is sort of almost caught up, but the next generation of PlayStation and Xbox is going to jump ahead, and we're going to have the same situation.
Do you feel
but hopefully by that point, the Switch 2 will have such a big install base that it's still going to have tons of games on it. It's not like it's going away by any means.
I feel like the PS5 is going to stop when it's people like, oh, it's chugging. Like the Switch near the end of its time was chugging. The PS4 was chugging a bit. I don't see the PS5 chugging with much.
Well, it's better designed and the fan's quieter, so that's something.
Yeah, and the Pro's out, which no one's bought.
Apart from you.
Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, that will help things. But yeah, so I think there is a lot of life in the Switch 2. I think it's going to get loads of support from tons of developers. But as always, it is the Nintendo games that are going to sell it. And that's the thing, is that for now there is one. Really.
Yes.
I'm discounting your welcome tour. Sorry.
Wow, you're discounting it, and you're also discounting all the upgrades to existing games that run so much better.
I'm very happy that these things exist, and yes, it's an excuse to replay Zelda, and they look great, and those are great games, and that's fine. But I still want something new. I say this, I've played fucking GameCube game for most of my time.
Would you like a brand new Splatoon spin-off game?
No.
Okay, well, you've just been picky now. Welcome Tour is great. You need to actually play the Welcome Tour.
I don't want a Splatoon spin-off.
Would you play Welcome Tour?
No, because I watched you play it, and that was enough.
What about all the mini game things?
I'm not interested in that.
Do you want to move things around
No.
bombs?
No. It's like education. I don't want that in a game.
I thought you'd like that.
No.
Okay.
I like education, but I like that separate to my video games.
Okay. Fine.
He says, working in the industry.
Yeah.
No, like, it's Mario Kart. And like I say, there are going to be other games, but they seem to have spaced them out very carefully throughout the rest of the year, which is a little annoying, because I'd rather just buy 5 and have loads to play on my new toy.
Yeah. No.
No?
No, their marketing team is spot on, I think, with what they're doing. Which I mean,
it gives every game space. I get that.
And it doesn't sound like they had trouble selling it. Which, again, like I want to repeat, the Switch 2s were, apparently they were on the shelves of Asda. Like they were still, that people can go and buy them if they look carefully and if you go and find out where they are in stock. But like they're not super hard to find now. There's nobody kind of, waiting. Every time it goes up, they all get sold out in 8 seconds or whatever. It's like they are quite easy to get, but still have a huge launch. And I wonder if that's something to do with, like, that everybody knew that they were making a Switch 2, and it was the open secret for so long. And then when they did announce it, it was still a few months before the actual direct showing it, and it felt like they were dragging their feet. And maybe, I guess, in that entire time, it was like, no, we just want to make sure that there are enough.
Yeah, probably,
to be out there.
Because again, people have been comparing with the PS5 in terms of sales, but that was in COVID when all the semiconductor shortages were happening. So there was a massive shortage of consoles and you couldn't get them. And yes, this is you're very right, and that leads into another point I was about to make. That I think this is the moment that Nintendo is truly mainstream, because the Switch has such a big install base, and they know that, and they know that they have to have as many consoles available for everybody, but they also need to have games for everybody that are geared towards everybody, and that's why they've launched with Mario Kart, because it is the most mass market game that Nintendo has. And their next game is Donkey Kong. What were the big things in the Mario movie? Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. What are the
Ooh.
big things in the theme park? Mario Kart ride, Donkey Kong ride.
Or Mario in general. So if they, Mario will be the Christmas one, won't it?
Well, maybe, but my point being that they are tying in the films, the theme parks, the consoles, the games. Everything is tying in together into this big mass market appeal of Nintendo, and they are really pushing Mario Kart and now Donkey Kong as the two things across all of those. They seem to be the big iconic things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when's Zelda happening?
Oh, it's already happened, Ed. It's happened.
Well, there's the Zelda film in 2 years. The Zelda live action film that I think is going to be absolutely fucking awful.
Depends who they have as Link the Twink.
Timothy
Chalamet.
It's too big a franchise for them to fuck up. But equally, I just don't want a Zelda film. I don't play Zelda games for the story. Well, I do play Zelda games for the story, but they're not story-driven games. Especially like the recent ones, they're player-driven to explore. You can't put that in a film. Anyway, I want to know what the next Zelda thing is, and I want there to be a Zelda castle with a roller coaster with it in the theme park.
Yeah, they're gonna make a nice, kind
Give
of
me
Zelda.
like Hyrule Castle.
I was thinking, I don't know. They've already got a castle. I think there'll be woods and a shrine. It'll be all underground. Can you imagine going into a shrine?
No, yes, they'll do the Lost Woods as a big maze with the Master Sword in the middle.
And there'll be somebody dressed as Hestu, and he'll shake his big maracas. Sorry.
Wow. That's Mario.
That's Mario. Yeah. Waluigi. Anyway, we're turning into memes. Let's.
What would the ride be though?
It would be. What about the dragons that go around? And it'll be like you ride the dragons that go around outside. Ride a dragon. I just want to ride a dragon.
I bet you do. Maybe. I wonder if they'll have some sort of like dungeon experience.
Yeah.
And you know where you've got
Ganon the Cannon. It's a really fast one.
Absolutely not. You know where you got the wristbands?
Yeah.
For all the little Mario mini games.
Yeah.
I wonder if they have something like that, but in like a dungeon setup where you have to complete all the puzzles in the dungeon
Because they will make
to get to the boss.
They will make it
And then
interactive.
and then the boss is like a interactive thing where you have to fight Phantom Ganon or something.
Or it's a bit. I mean, they've already
Genius.
They've already got their own version of shrines in the Nintendo world in the Mario part. So like having to Anyway, that's definitely a future topic when they announce it. When they announce it, then we'll look at what those
My point
parts will be.
stands. They're tying everything in. Speaking of, what do we think of Mario Kart?
Yeah, I was about to say let's move on to the actual games because we're only like 2/3 of the way through already.
Oh, great.
So I love it. I think it's great. So there is obviously 3 things I would say about Mario Kart. One of them is the open world. The other one are the cups, and the other is the knockout tour. I'd say that they were the 3
In
main
single
modes.
and multiplayer.
Yes, I played a bit of knockout tour just before today, and I've never been so tense and shaking around in my life. At many points during it, I was in first place. I ended up 4th. Which, to be honest, I'm quite proud of myself. I got a stack full of points for getting that high. Would I have liked to win? Yes, I would. But top 4 out of 24, I'm pleased with. It's great. It is so intense. At the beginning, there were bits where I was first, and I took a screenshot of me being first. A few seconds later, I was 24th.
Yeah,
and then I'm 6th again, and it's just pure chaos. And I would say for like the first until you're in the top 8. This is not an idea that I've thought of myself. I did read it and I completely agreed with it. But until you're in the top 8, it's not skill, it's luck.
Oh, for sure.
There's so much luck in there in that bit. And then when you're in the top 8, it is about who's really the fastest. Because when we were in the final 4, the 2 at the front just sped off and they were never going to be beaten. But yeah, and I think what adds to the tension is just how long each stage is. So some of it feels like 3 what would normally be like 3 laps of a track. I'd say, it is quite a while. It takes quite a while to reach that first gate. I don't know if it's shorter each one or are they all the same length? Because the last gate felt like it was over in no time.
I'm not sure exactly how they've divided it up
Mm.
because also the tracks are different to what the Grand Prix are.
That's another thing as well. It's
Because
they're all
if
unique.
effectively they've made an open world that they have designed, and then they have used parts of it for different Grand Prix or different knockout tours for like different routes across that same world. So the knockout tour I haven't played since I got this.
Oh, really?
Actually, I did one, sorry, which was just a single player against the computer.
Which you won.
Obviously, because it's the computer, it's
Just.
easy. I did play it at the Switch 2 event and came second, but again, like the sort of like you're saying, the tension of like the shakes and the
Yeah.
sweat of doing it, like that's great. That is so much fun. What I've been doing, which is what I always do when I get a Mario Kart, and it's probably the wrong way to play it, is to go right. I'm going to do all the Grand Prix on 50cc,
Oh,
and I'm going to
okay.
tick them all off. And then I'm going to do them all on 100, and then do them all on 150
That's
because I
fair.
want to unlock everything.
That is very fair.
And I feel like I want to do it in order. So that's how I do it. Now, personally, with this game, I think that's the worst way of doing it because I think the Grand Prix aren't very good. Mic drop.
Well,
And the thing is,
you
I
say they're not
thi-
very good. Are you just being a person that likes, a bit of hyperbole?
No,
You think they're bad games?
no, I'm not saying it's bad. You're putting words in my mouth now. If you let me explain. So the way the Grand Prix work, the very first, there's still 4 tracks. The first one is still a circuit, 3 laps, done. And then the other ones are taking you across the world from one to the next. Now, I think if you do time trial and select one of the tracks, it is a circuit that you can still do 3 laps of. But in the Grand Prix, you maybe only do 1 lap of that because the other 2 laps, in inverted commas, before that are you driving from one track to the next. And I just think the bits in between the tracks aren't very interesting
I can
because
definitely
they're
see that.
really wide
Yeah.
and meandering, and it's less about let's create a track that's memorable that tests your skill and let's just get you from A to B. And so that I don't think is very interesting to race on. So if you're doing the tracks individually, there are individually some great tracks, but because they've made them link, I think the linking bit makes it a bit boring to race on. And when it therefore, like, there's so many times where I'm just going straight, and I think I don't want to be just driving straight in a Mario Kart game. I want to be drifting and sliding. And sometimes I think that then puts more emphasis on the items and the chaos of it.
I think that puts more emphasis
Whereas
on...
I like the racing more than anything.
I think it puts more emphasis on the speed of it because I've not done any 50 or 100cc. I've only done 150, which at the moment is the maximum speed. And I only found like 2 or 3 moments where I went, in my head, I was like, and this is throughout all the Grand Prix, only like 2 or 3 moments when I thought, oh, this is just me going in a straight line here. I didn't find that at all really a common thing with 150 because you're going, by the time you've kind of, I imagine at 50 and 100, you're going
And
there are a lot more kind of long paths, whereas in 150 you kind of whiz through it and you're already thinking about how to approach the next corner.
And that's the thing. Like, I appreciate this is the way I've played it by starting at the easiest level where I'm like, this just feels boring to me. The knockout tool does work in the same way, winding across the map, but because of the structure of it, it feels tense and exciting in the way that
Certainly
the
is
Grand Prix
intense.
doesn't. So I found that a bit annoying. The one thing I will say though is that when, like, scrolling through TikTok, I keep getting served loads of videos on Mario Kart, and it's people showing off shortcuts and how to grind and the wall riding, which is all stuff that initially I was like, why have they put grinding in? That doesn't really make any sense. Why is there wall driving? Like, I don't think that's great. But then I think that that's actually really shown how clever the tracks are. So even though I just said that they were boring, I think that within that there are, when you really start learning them again and again, there are so many little shortcuts, ways that you can jump off and wall jump and grind on things to get extra boosts, that there are going to be some really like expert strategies to get through it that is very clever. So I think I just need to play it more, basically.
Yeah, just keep playing it. Speaking of grinding, I was playing the Knockout Tour and I was on a grind rail. I think I accidentally went on the grind rail because a few other people did as well. And the person behind was going faster along the grind rail and knocked me off. And I fell down into like the abyss. It was, there are a lot of mechanics in there. Another thing as well I thought was interesting was how good the AI is. Especially on 150cc because that's all I've known. But I was second to Daisy or Rosalina or somebody. And there was a blue shell coming and she literally intentionally slowed down so I would get the blue shell. And I'm like, that is a kind of a top level strategy for people that play in online mode. Never mind an actual AI doing that. So I
Yeah.
was quite impressed with that, and also annoyed.
But I'd be very annoyed. Yeah.
But I've been playing as Pauline in her dump truck. For some reason, that
Sure.
combo works really well. Like I was because I was doing 150, and I won pretty much. I won most of them, but I wasn't getting that many first places, and it was down. And and then I switched to Pauline in a dump truck because I thought that would be funny, and ended up like winning them all. So that is the
See,
trick.
I'm sticking with Bikey Yoshi.
Yeah, I think because
I
I
like
might
Bikey
now
Yoshi.
you've said it, I really want to go and do all the 50s and 100s just to kind of really get used to the tracks.
Yeah.
Because now I've played them and completed. I won't talk too much about Rainbow Road, but it's the best Rainbow Road ever.
It is brilliant.
But like the 100, now I've done it in 150cc. I'm like, actually, I should go back to 50 and just enjoy the tracks and kind of learn them a bit more. What are your favorite tracks apart from Rainbow Road? Because
Yeah, so Rainbow Road is a great one.
speaking of long, I mean
think
that is a long track.
It is. I think my favorite is the Boo Cinema.
That's second
Because there's
for
a
me.
bit where, because you basically drive around the cinema and then you sort of launch through the screen and then you go into like the world of the film essentially, which is just really cool. But like I say, when you're doing that in a Grand Prix, you do like one lap of that because the other two laps have been getting there.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I haven't really played multiplayer yet. And I'm presuming multiplayer is a case of voting for the track you want to do and then you just do the track. So there's less
Yeah.
of the between bits, I'm presuming.
I'm really tempted to try a bit tomorrow if I've got everything tidied up before my friend arrives to do an hour or 2 or 2 or 3 hours of 2 hours of Mario Kart online just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
I think my favorite track is Moo Moo Meadows, the new Moo Moo Meadows, because I loved Moo Moo Meadows.
Because of Cow.
No, I don't give a shit. I don't care about memes and Gen Z. Oh my god, I'm cow. Fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't care about that. Like generally, Moo Moo Meadows, the original, was one of my favorite. One of the reasons was that I used to win quite a lot, and it's because there was a really OP way you could go. If you skidded up the ramp to the right, if you know where I am, and then you launch, and then you kind of fly over that last part where all the moles have been digging up, you get a much better. Like the speed from doing that, the benefit from doing that is really high, and especially if you get a red shell back there, you can destroy whoever's right in the lead. So I tried that strategy on the new Moo Moo Meadows. Sadly, they've nerfed that route. I say nerfed it; they've made it equal, I think, to actually going along the normal way. So I don't know. I just love that they've really kind of commercialized and like capitalism has made its way to Moo Moo Meadows. It's like we've grown. We're no longer a little kind of farm. This is a proper factory now, which I thought was hilarious.
Industry.
Yeah, it's an industry. Those Moo Moo Meadows, they're not being milked now. They're being, sliced and diced
Wow.
and fed with burgers.
Poor cow.
But it's except that one cow that got released and is now driving around. But no, Moo Moo Meadows, I love that Moo Moo Meadows.
The other one I like is DK Spaceport, which is it's the one on the first Grand Prix.
I've only done them all once.
That looks like it looks like a Donkey Kong level that you work your way up with all the rolling barrels and stuff. So it's like a twist on what the Donkey Kong game
Yes, no,
is.
I do know. I saw you. Yes, that is a really cool one. I also really liked the one that they've turned the old, Super Mario Kart into. Because obviously Super Mario Kart being my one of my first ever video games. It's like that. I love that nostalgia. Just like the full, beautiful. If someone said it's not actually 4K, it's something that's like 1440p or whatever. It's still very high, and it's obviously 60 FPS without a single drop. But I really like how it's that kind of old game, but new again, similar as it was in Mario Kart 8.
Some of the tracks they've taken the layouts from classic ones, but just slotted them into this world and the style and integrate it, which is really cool. What do you think of the open world?
I have not really done much. I've done a little bit as I was waiting for someone, and I just wanted to kind of wander around and see what it was like with the outfits. Like I said, I've not done enough to get bored of it, but I have done a few of those. I've done 2 or 3 of the P things. So there are these P buttons. Are they just called P buttons? Because I know they're in games, Mario games, but don't know what the name is. And you hit these P buttons.
I think they're power buttons.
Okay, so you hit
they have power.
Gotcha. You hit these power buttons in the open world, and it will send you on a little mission, whether it's to like beat a few, do a few laps and beat some others, or mine was to get to a certain place using mushrooms. So you get loads of mushrooms and you need to get to the finish line. And generally, it took me about 10 goes. And then I realized that there was actually a secret route, and that's how to complete it. It was not the way that looked really obvious to just follow the road. So I really liked that. And I did enjoy it, but at the end of it, it just went, well done, you completed the mission. And then put me back in the open world. And I was like, oh, so what do I get? Anything?
That's what's annoying me about it. Like I'm here for the Mario Kart world and the way that everything's integrated and feels like it's all one thing. That's great. I like the idea of having these little missions. I think what you get are stickers. I'm like, why the fuck?
You want to be rewarded properly, don't you?
Yeah, I want to feel like I get that in a way it's almost a training mode because it's teaching you about the routes through the world. It's teaching you about how to grind and jump and things like that. So I appreciate that. But I feel like I want some sort of reward for that. I almost wish that it was the single player was like a story mode that wasn't Grand Prix, but a story mode that maybe had you in one part of the world and that it's slowly unlocked as you explore more and you uncover characters as you go and it gives you that sense of progression. Because as it stands, it's just, I'm just driving around, hitting a block, collecting some coins. All right, cool. Thanks for the sticker.
Yeah.
I just don't really care for that.
And as somebody that's played a lot of Forza Horizon games, like I'm having to compare the two because they're both open world racing games, and Forza Horizon's got a million other things that you can do, which obviously like Nintendo go for their simplicity and they want to make it so anybody can play. But like, I don't know, in the open world of Forza, you can rock up to the start of a race, you can click a button and you can start racing there. But there are also loads of little time trials and things that pop up and you get a million different things as rewards. And that's a much more exciting game to play and to do free roaming. In fact, most of the time is just free roaming in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing I would say is for me the downside of that. I don't mind the stickers because it's just a collectathon. It would be cool if they showed you which stickers you're missing and what you needed to do to get them, and there was a bit of like an achievement thing like that. I think maybe that's what Nintendo's missing and seems to have missed again this time around.
I'm hoping as well that they do DLC with more tracks, and I would love to see how they expand the world further. I would love it if they took inspiration from Super Mario World, where there are the secret levels that are placed in Star Road, which is like a sort of separate map. And I think they could do a thing where there's like portals that take you to like the special world. And then there are loads of other like maybe classic tracks or things like that are all together in a different portal.
Well,
reality.
have you seen there's a few Easter eggs, including you can like drive through pictures, can't you? Can you see? Have you seen those?
I've not seen that.
There's like the Peach picture in the castle you can drive in, and there's a little Easter egg from Super Mario 64.
Oh.
I don't know what it actually shows, but I started the beginning of the TikTok and then moved on because my attention span.
Of course. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. Apparently there's I think it's that, might be that, or it might be something else that you can actually unlock a mirror mode of the free world, of the free roam mirror, which sounds quite interesting. So that was Mario Kart. We'll probably be talking about that a lot more in the future as well on future podcasts because we're going to be playing it a lot.
I'm excited to play more multiplayer because I feel like that's the thing. Mario Kart is a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And that's why they've got the Switch 2 or as a launch game, because then everybody gets Mario Kart and gets their Switch 2 and everybody plays together. And that's it feels like it's the game you have to have, even if you don't want it.
Yeah.
Like you have to have Mario Kart.
What other games do you want to quickly talk about then? So, Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, let's talk about that because I started it again and was really impressed by it. But you are playing it on stream, but for the first time. So you have just general thoughts about the game.
Oh, yes, I have. And since playing it in 60 FPS, it generally feels like a different game. So before I've played I did all the 4 dungeons and I did about 36 shrines. Maybe fewer than that, maybe 34. So I'd hardly done any of the shrines. I think I had like another 100 or plus to go. But I had done the 4 dungeons, but I've not done any of the side missions or the side stuff. There were loads of things that I've now unlocked after starting speaking to people, and they've gone, "Hey, will you do this for me?" And then, wait, you've already done it. So a lot of things are currently being unlocked to me, but just wandering around with the shrines, and it generally feels like a different game. I feel like the combat's way easier, and I don't know if that's just after I've finished Wind Waker HD. I'm like, oh wow, it's nice to play a game that's got decent controls. But I'm wondering if like some people have said as well, like actually the combat makes it a lot easier because it's a lot smoother, and you're not taking into consideration like missed frames and that. So it's also like if you're putting a bunch of things together, you're fusing them together and moving them, it doesn't go down, which IGN showed that at times when you had things locked together, it was like dropping down to 20 FPS, and it was just really gave you a headache to look at the screen. Like there were just no drops whatsoever. And obviously the quality just looks even better.
I feel like Ascend is better as well. Like it feels like it loads a bit quicker when you pop up at the top.
Definitely does, yeah. So yeah, that it all just feels so much smoother, so much more pleasant to play. When a game, and then people in the community know I'm always banging on about FPS, but 60 FPS is just so much easier on your eyes that when you're playing it, you can just play for really long periods of time. When I play a game that's in 30 and it's quite high, or it's quite high action or velocity, it does make you want to. It makes you more tired, I feel, or gives you a headache. So this has just made me want to play kind of 12-hour stints of Tears of the Kingdom now, which I'd be very much happy to do so. And yeah, like the game itself, I'm absolutely loving. I'm really enjoying all the side stuff. I went to Hateno Village and Hateno Village, the one near the observatory.
Hateno, I think I say, but yeah.
So I went there, and you told me that near there is probably where you can get the shrine pinger. It wasn't there because it was in the lookout landing where I needed to go. However,
well, it's the researchers that are in that village.
But they
had
lookout.
moved. I didn't know they'd moved.
Yes, they had moved.
Well, when I got it, they hadn't moved. So
okay. Well,
don't you blame me for bad information.
That's fine. But no, it made me then go and explore Hateno Village, and there was this thing about there was a fashion lady and a mayor. There was a mayoral contest, and I was just fully into it. Like I didn't do any shrines for an entire stream, and all I did was just wander around and like kind of help people with their with their problems and chatter around. I don't know. It was I just felt really enamored by the story, and like I was desperate to find out what was going on. And it's one of those games where you were like, oh, let's look at your main missions, and then said you should probably follow that one. And I was like, great, okay, I like a bit of direction. And for the last 2 streams, I've tried to just literally go to where it says go next. But every single time I play, I get distracted by shrines, I get distracted by side quests, I get distracted by great fairies and helping horny men and men with horns playing music. Or just like, there are so many things that I just get distracted. Zelda on a golden horse that's disappeared somewhere. There are just so many distractions, but you know that every distraction you go on with somebody like me with very likely an ADHD brain, which is undiagnosed, but I get sidetracked all the time. But I know that me getting sidetracked is not going to make me any less productive, because every single thing that you get sidetracked by helps you in some way.
You're at the point of the game that I really fell in love with it.
I think that's exactly what I'm doing now as well.
When I played Tears of the Kingdom at the beginning, I felt disappointed because I thought this is just, and I think a lot of people were disparaging for it against it, saying, "Oh, it's just more Breath of the Wild," and it does feel very similar. I think that it does have a better story. I think the dungeons are better, as much as some of the bosses are annoying. But I felt disappointed. I was like, "Oh, it's the same world," and I don't know about this. But once I got through the story and then just explored, and it just leaves you to go, hey, here's loads of side stuff, all those little mini stories and collections, and then you're like, oh, here's a random island. What can I do to get there? Let me build a plane. And then you go flying over there to see what you're going to find. And that sense of exploration and being just left to your own devices is why I ended up loving it so much more, even more than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I think, is the definitive one, and it came first and was more original, and I get that. But I think Tears of the Kingdom builds on it in really interesting ways that I overall prefer as a better game, which is why for me it was my favorite game of, was it last year?
I think so. No, year before.
Year before.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think I was trying to push for it as game of the year, and you hadn't got far enough. But now maybe you'll understand where I was, because now you're loving it.
I am loving it, yeah. And maybe this version will be our game of the year this year.
I don't think it counts.
No,
it's a remaster. I don't think we can let that count.
That's a shame. Speaking of, but so I will be talking a lot more about that, because that's literally my game when I'm not doing community nights or Friday night wrestling on stream. I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom and just loving it, and it's nice because loads of people drop by who love Zelda as well. So it's a perfect time to play it, I think, and just chat. And I've had nobody backseating.
That's very surprising.
Yeah, I've got good mods.
I could name names, but I won't.
Oh no, she said that she was gonna just lurk.
Okay.
So, well, speaking of games that have had like remasters, I've also tried a little bit of Splatoon 3's update today. I did
Oh
an
yeah, that was
online match
literally today.
and I sucked.
Oh.
The only
So nothing's changed.
no, I'm still. Well, I say that I sucked. It was the turf war thing, and you have to, paint the floor.
Yeah,
and I got more than anybody on both teams of floor painting.
Oh, so you were just splatting around.
Well, there are other people that are better at shooting and killing things. Like I don't shoot and kill.
Okay.
I just splat around. Yeah, I just go around and spray the floor. So that's what I did, and I did very well. But we still lost because the other people were just dicking around.
Oh.
So yeah, just enjoyed that. The only thing I've noticed so far, I mean, apart from when you load up, you've got those two annoying people that talk forever, and all it is just bashing the A button because there's a million things that they insist you sit through. Although there is a button to make it so it's audio only, but I don't know if that's just the general one that they do each day that you can, or if you could do it for all of the updates that they've announced, but I don't think you can. But anyway, yeah, no, the thing I've only really noticed so far is that the hub area when you walk around is no longer really kind of 30 FPS and difficult to look at.
So
it's very smooth.
Are matches smoother?
I think matches have always been very smooth. Matches have always been 60. I imagine it's similar. You'd have to go and check out the tech stuff for that, but matches don't really feel any different. So
I might have to dabble into that. I really enjoy Splatoon 3, but I also suck at it and I get annoyed when I lose. So I feel like it's a game that I need to just put more time into. But multiplayer games take a lot of time.
They do, and there's loads of ranking and stuff like that. So you'll be fine. Just play with whatever tool you enjoy playing with the most and rank it up.
I like the twin pistols because they're quick.
See, I like the splatter gun, I think it is, or something. But right, anything else we want to talk about Switch 2?
I'm just excited about what's to come more than what. Like, as a piece of kit, I love it. Mario Kart is good. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but I'm very glad I've invested in this console because I know a lot of very good games are going to come. When Metroid Prime 4 arrives, I'm going to splat, and then I'll be very happy.
Would you like? Should we have a quick check-in of what other people thought? Because we did ask.
We did, and also what people have been playing.
We're not going to do that.
Okay.
Because we'll save that for next time. So what you've been playing, even if you've mentioned it over the last couple of weeks, we will save them. But this is the Switch 2 special, so we want to talk about those.
There's a lot to scroll past.
That was on the 6th of June. The answer of the day is from the 6th of June. I'm looking forward to... oh, by the way, I've also ordered the case and the screen protector, but I've also ordered the 256 gig memory upgrade so that I can just download loads of things. Also, I've realised I think I do prefer digital to physical. I know we've got a beautiful selection of physicals, but I just can't be asked changing things around.
I mean, I see that.
I like to just have it all available, and especially now we can like borrow each other's games, digital games, quite easily. I found that quite good.
Sure.
Yeah. Have you found it?
I have.
Great. Go on, tell us.
So Glinsky starts us off saying, no. He's not getting one. Waiting for when there are more exclusive I want for it, though Metro Prime 4 may be enough by itself. Good choice. But watching Ben stream, it does look great, and Welcome Tour in particular was far more expansive than I expected.
Yeah, we didn't really talk too much about it, but like it was...
You talked plenty about it.
Go and play it if you're interested, and you've probably got coins or something, and it's not going to cost you much at all. It's an enjoyable little game. Even just like the tech demos or the mini games in there are worth it.
Sure. As a fan of exploded view drawing, how it works, shows and books, etc., my first Game Boy was the transparent casing edition, so I could look at its innards. I also had that one. It's great. Seeing how much love and care had been put into showcasing the hardware and decisions behind features really scratched a very particular itch for me and felt like a massive thank you to the developers and engineers behind it all. Riley says, did not get it. I am poor and need to save up for it. Someday I will, but it will be a while before I'm able to. Brutal Prender also had a meme with, I'm broke. So I think that's a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, even it's a complete luxury, especially at the moment with what there is in it. Maybe by Christmas, it'll have a lot more of a catalogue that people will want.
For sure.
I mean, if you've got Mario Kart, you've got Donkey Kong, you've got Metroid, and you've got a new Mario, I think that those four are going to be...
that's a good first year.
That would be a very good first year, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus whatever random things have, hit it off.
I mean, I was going to say that they need a Zelda game, but there will be the Hyrule Warriors game, which I still will play, even though it's not proper Zelda.
I'll enjoy that.
I will.
It's also got Wind Waker.
I know, I'm tempted to play that all over again.
Move on. You always, every single time you mention a game, it's like, oh, I'm going to play that again.
Because I never play old games, or very rarely go back and replay games.
You like talking
again.
about playing old games.
Yeah,
more
than
playing.
actually doing
Yeah.
it. But I blame work for that. It has me playing new games all the time. Gemma says, Liz and I got one to share for financial reasons because the new game selection is a bit bland for us at the moment. Having said that, it's a really lovely console. It's so nice to hold. The graphics are great and it runs like a dream. We've been playing lots of Mario Kart World, which is so much fun. I'm having a great time unlocking characters and cars, and the controls and gameplay are better than Mario Kart 8 so far, in my opinion. I agree with that, actually. Even like the drifting feels better. It feels easier. Like you don't drift off and skid at weird angles anymore.
That's true.
I don't have any regrets on buying it. I still wish there were more games for it, but I plan to buy Breath of the Wild now that I know it'll be on a console I have for another 5 years. I'm excited to play it after all this time of seeing Ben, Ed, and others play it and love it. Gemma, please keep us up to date on your progress.
I would love to just watch somebody play Breath of the Wild from the very beginning again and just see the magic in their eyes.
Yeah. It's like, it's that bit where you emerge at the very beginning and it just has that shot panning out over the world. And I'm like, that is just jizz-worthy.
I just love seeing, I just love seeing people have their own adventure in Breath of the Wild because it's going to be completely different to absolutely everybody else that plays it.
Yep. Very much. Linny Levy says, I did not. The games I'm wanting, aka Witchbrook, are available for other platforms or original Switch, so I'm waiting until things start becoming Switch 2 only. I'm interested to see how DVD plays on it, though.
Probably about as well as it does on all the other consoles.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the thing, like, the Mario Kart is obviously Switch 2 only, but then a lot of these games are Switch 1 with upgrades. Metroid Prime is on both. So there's a bit of a weird crossover for a while.
Yes.
But I would imagine the next big Mario platformer is going to be a Switch 2 only game. And that will be the moment that people go, right, I've got to buy the new console for the new Mario game. And then that's a big deal, I think.
I wonder why there hasn't been an update to Animal Crossing, which is generally like their second biggest selling Switch game of all time. Are they
it deserves to, because as you've had on your island, because it's so full, the frame rate isn't great. But maybe it's too big a game to update. Maybe saying that Tears of the Kingdom's massive.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think it's that. I wonder if either they've got like an Ultimate Edition planned that obviously comes with all their DLC and stuff, and maybe a few little extra things to tide people over until the new Animal Crossing comes out, and then they can make £1 million or sell 1 million copies in minutes for like a future Christmas. I wonder if they'll do that. I wonder if at Christmas they're like, hey, here's the Animal Crossing New Horizons. With expansion pack, plus we've got a load of other events that happen that we've added like throughout the year in the game. Yeah, that would make sense. And then, because they're not going to release a new Animal Crossing for a few more years, I don't think.
See, I don't think either, but I also think that they should.
Maybe
I would much rather. I don't want them to do an upgrade. Just give me the new one. Like the thing with Animal Crossing, like it's great and there's loads in it, but it's also run its course for me. And in the sense of like New Horizons as it stands, because we've both said this before, I still think Animal Crossing should absolutely be a proper live service game.
You're saying
and I don't want them to like to upgrade the old one and end up just rehashing what we've had, when I'm like, no, I want you to expand on what you've done and give us the next evolution of Animal Crossing.
I'd like that, but also, and I can completely agree with the fact that, it should be a live service game, or at least it has... The thing is, Animal Crossing is something that you play over a really long period of time, because they have the different seasons, it's all in real time, and then you're waiting in the next day for something to be built. So you're right that it should be at the beginning of a console life, so that people can then play it for years and years without needing to, before the console gets upgraded or whatnot. So, I wonder if that would be like a Christmas next year type game.
I also wonder how much Nintendo plan out the sort of frequency of games, and I wonder that they maybe didn't expect Animal Crossing New Horizons to be as big as it was, because the games beforehand had been big, but not that big, and a big part of that was the pandemic and the timing, but that's now exploded it to the point where maybe they're like, oh shit, this is bigger than we thought it was, and I don't know if they're going to try and move that up the development pipeline a bit and get it out quicker. I mean, not in terms of rushing it, but just maybe prioritizing it more.
Don't mind. Just give
because
me
it was
more
so
Animal
popular.
Crossing. Give me more Animal Crossing. I need it. I'll take 2 weeks off work when it comes out.
And the last one was Pete Random. It says, if there's still any kicking about in a couple of weeks, I might, which I think there probably will be.
Yeah.
A happy new job present for myself, and it would be nice to get at the same time as my brother buys himself one for his birthday. Just so desperate to have an excuse to play a souped up Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, do it.
Honestly, yeah. That game is so stunning. So stunning.
Both of them.
Right. Okay, well, that will be it. We tried to keep it to an hour. We didn't. But still, we had so much to talk about Switch 2, and we haven't even really spoken... we haven't spoken at all about any of the state of plays or the Xbox showcases, what we've been playing or anything like that.
There wasn't really much to say.
Well, we'll talk about that next time if it's still relevant. But
Sure.
yeah, that was our Switch 2 special. What are you going to do now? You going to go play some?
No, I've got something else to play, but also I've got dinner to make. So
You do. Yeah. All right. Ed, where can we find you?
you can find me sat here in this chair most of the day.
Yeah. Not today, though. You've had a day
But
off.
online, you can find me at ed_nights or ednights.
Excellent. And I am Biggest Benners everywhere that matters. And yeah, I've got the Zelda on YouTube. I've got the Zelda Wind Waker HD thing going up all the time. And at the end of the month, there will be the Death Stranding 2 Let's Play going up pretty much all the time. So tune in to see me play the sequel to one of my favorite games of all time. And yeah, I'm sure I will be squealing with joy.
I am looking forward to watching you squeal.
Excellent. And what about with the game? All right. So thanks very much for watching. Go to swappingjoysticks.com for all your joystick swapping needs. And if I don't see you through a week,
No.
I'll see you through the Switch C button if you get the
God,
camera.
That's horrendous.
Bye.